Welcome everybody to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom, the Rock Doctor, and I am here with my co-host, Joy Langford.
Hi.
And we have a special guest today. We have Miss Jen Levy. She is with the Beverly Hills Community Farm, so welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And that's actually where we are right now.
We are physically here. We have beautiful plants all around us. We have the most gorgeous shard behind us. And that gets harvested for people. So before we go into who you give the food to, why Beverly Hills? Why the community farm?
Yeah, so I grew up here in Beverly Hills, and we have three co-founders, and we all grew up here, went to school here, and really wanted to give back to the community. So we really felt a lot about where we wanted to have this farm, and we knew that we could make a difference in our hometown, and so that was very important to us to have it here locally where we grew up.
And who do you currently provide the food to? Because you provide hundreds of pounds of vegetables and herbs.
Yes, so since January 2021, we have been in this current space growing hydroponically in these vertical towers, and we donate to three main partners. So we go to a food bank through Jewish Family Services, a subsidized senior living facility here in the city called the Menorah House, and then at the Veterans Center, their New Directions for Veterans kitchen.
Now you said the word hydroponic.
Yes.
Not everybody's going to know what that means,
Yes.
so could you explain what that is?
Yeah, so hydroponic is a way to grow vegetables or other things without soil. So water being the main component, and all of the nutrients and the vitamins go into the water, and then every time the plants get water, they're soaking up all of those good things.
And you also don't need, since you don't need soil, you don't need a footprint, you don't need a large farm, you don't need space, you can grow vertically.
Correct.
And actually triple, quadruple how much you can grow just because it's growing up and not out.
Exactly. So this tower behind us has 28 plants of Swiss chard. So if you were going to have that outside, you would need at least probably 50 plus feet in length and about 2.5 to 3 feet in width.
And just the fact that the water, as a water professional,
yes.
That the water is going straight to the source to feed the plant. There's no runoff. There's
how many gallons do they use?
Yeah.
They say on average about 3 gallons per week. So it depends on how big the plants are, right? So for 28 plants, 3 to 5, I'll say, gallons per week is still pretty insignificant. And there's no waste, as you said. Anything the plants aren't soaking up goes right back into the reservoir. So it's a closed loop system. We do have grow lights since we're inside, so there's a little bit of a footprint, but minimal for sure.
Where do you kind of see this going? Do you see people doing this in their own homes? Because the machinery for these plants is, very minimal space or capacity that it takes up. And, I see with the right, water, with the right nutrients in it, how hard is it to put one of these together yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's very, very easy. We joke that it's kind of like adult Legos, that you kind of just put it together. It's very, very simple, and really our mission is education, right? So in addition to growing local food in a sustainable way, we want to teach all ages of people how to grow their own food, how to source their own food, and how to grow food in a sustainable way. And this is a perfect way to do that. You can live in a tiny apartment. It takes up about 3 feet in width and about 5 to 6 feet in height, depending on if it's inside or outside, with the ability to grow 20 to 28 plants. So you could essentially provide the majority of your greens and herbs and potentially some other food for your family just from one tower.
And it cleans the air too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's purifying the air, so if you are in an apartment, that actually works to your benefit.
Yeah, and they smell amazing, especially if you have herbs. You can do flowers as well. So really there's about 150 different things you can grow in them.
And they look amazing too.
Yeah,
they're not, since they're not coming out of the ground, they look picture perfect. No soil attached to them. The nutrients just come up through the plant.
You mentioned that. So vegetables lose their nutritional quality within hours. These are things I did not know.
Yeah.
So when
greens and herbs specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our goal is really to harvest and deliver within an hour and a half. So far we've been able to do that, but really to give the people who are getting our produce the most nutrient dense produce they can get.
And that's wonderful. So as Joy was bringing up the future, I believe you're looking to do shipping containers.
We are, so that's our next big step, right? So this was kind of our first step, getting in, especially during the pandemic. We really wanted to grow food to be able to give to people, and so this was an amazing first step. But really, our goal is to be able to provide food for restaurants, individuals, grocery stores, hospitals, nursing facilities, whoever really needs and can benefit from fresh produce, which essentially is everybody.
Oh,
Right.
So the shipping containers have the ability to hold 9,000 plants.
Wow.
And we'll be able to harvest 1,000 plants every week. So
wow.
that's between 250 and 350 pounds of produce a week versus the 5 to 8 pounds of produce per week we're getting in this current space.
And you had mentioned like these container ships, shipping containers. I don't know why I keep saying that. They have movable boards, so it's ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Anybody can go in, and it's kind of self-contained.
It's all self-contained, it's climate controlled, there's an app that kind of helps monitor the pH and the chemicals, nutrients, not chemicals, but all of those things, and it really, yeah, the walls are literally, they move back and forth, so you can walk through them for kids, for education, for people who, you know, have some physical disabilities, wheelchairs can fit in there, so everyone can really get a sense of what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, and then everybody can really help if they want to, right? You don't need to be able-bodied or tall or, you know, strong. It's all like right at eye level.
You had also mentioned getting kids to eat their vegetables. You said if they see it grown, if they grow it themselves, they are more than likely to eat their vegetables. It's like, I made
That's
this.
a sense of pride.
It is a sense of pride, and especially these do grow 3 times faster, so they don't have to be as patient as they would for outdoor farming. But if they started from the seed and really saw the whole process, I don't ever want to say 100%, but I would say 95% gonna taste it.
That's
They
awesome.
might not like it and they might not go back, but the majority of them will. They just haven't experienced it yet. But if they're watching grow and they're really getting their hands, not really dirty in this system, but involved, they will 90 to 95% of the time try
That's
it.
fantastic.
Tell us more about some of the community engagement that you're trying to do, both in Beverly Hills and further out.
Yeah, so I work in the high school currently, so once a week in their environmental science classroom. So those kids, they have a tower in that room, and we have a tower in one of the other classrooms at the high school, and they really get to see all the ins and outs of it. So they started seeds, and they're taking care of it and testing all of the pH and adding the nutrients. So they're going to get to see kind of a full cycle of planting. And then we also have a tower in the the elementary school, so in their science lab. So the 2nd grade there, we did a full unit on planting and hydroponic planting, so they have one as well. We've done a handful of cooking classes and education classes. We did an herb making class at the Menorah House where we give produce to, but really we want to create a space for all types of programming, right? So not just the skills that we can teach, but really allow people to come in and teach their skills. So we did, as I mentioned, a plant-based cooking class here in this space with a local chef who teaches plant-based cooking. So really just getting people to like share their knowledge with the community as well.
And by the way, if you haven't already figured it out, we're actually in a retail space. When we first talked about doing this particular program, I'm like, there's a farm in Beverly Hills. Well,
I know, who knew?
Yeah, right. The farm actually is in a retail space in the most popular part of Beverly Hills.
The Golden Triangle.
Yeah, the Golden Triangle, and it is, it's just amazing to see what we can do with a lot of retail space.
It doesn't have to be clothing.
Right. It does not have to be clothing, and as we try to transition into other things, as such as helping homeless, you know, what our future grocery stores are going to look like,
Absolutely.
lots of different environmental issues. You're really trailblazing on what
You're rethinking how we get our food.
We are, and what's great, as I mentioned, education, you know, this space has such beautiful windows, so education just happens naturally, right?
Yeah,
People walk by and they come in,
Well,
and they
that's how
smell
I
the
first
basil.
saw it. I walked by and I'm like,
Exactly.
there's a farm in a store.
right.
Yeah, so the education is not always so formal, right?
Right.
So it's happening all the time just from being in the location that we're in, which we feel so lucky to be here.
So continue with your future, because you are growing. Any events coming up? Ways for people to find you?
Yes, well, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at BH Community Farm, and you can look on our website, which is beverlyhillscommunityfarm.org, and reach out to me if you want to come take a tour, if you want to host a class. We have our calendar of events on there as well.
Awesome.
And so we're kind of in the spring cleaning process right now, but in the next few weeks we'll be listing our late spring and our early summer classes.
So I want to take this, actually. I'm not lying. I love cooking, baking.
She does.
Yeah.
Everyone who knows me knows that I love cooking and baking. And the fact that everything is so fresh, and now they know the nutritional quality declines, that's a little alarming to me, because I didn't know that.
I know, they don't,
They don't really tell you that in the grocery
They
store.
don't tell you
They
that
just
in
want you to buy the
grocery
groceries.
stores. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, and we have watering going on.
Yes.
Automatic. Oh my God, it's automatic.
It is automatic. So yeah, so that's a little sample of what it sounds like. So it kind of feels like you're in a spa.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
a
very
waterfall.
zen in here.
Yeah, so it eventually becomes white noise, but it really just gives you a sense of,
It's
calm.
like a water. That's so cool. That's like very setting like,
It
isn't it?
is, yes.
Okay, we love this, we love everything that you're doing, Jen.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Jen
Thank
Levy,
you.
Beverly
Thank you
Hills
both,
Community
it's
Park.
lovely to talk to you.
Hunt them down, come visit,
Yes.
take a class, this is phenomenal work. We'll catch you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.